Hey there, and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Growth and Grace, our weekly show where we talk about all sorts of stuff, but mainly what's recently either going on or has recently happened in my life and how I got through it. So I'm sharing with you what works and sometimes what does not work, because I've definitely learned a lot that way too. So this morning's been a really weird morning. I'm just going to be really upfront with you about that. I set myself up to win last night. I got in bed with plenty of time for a full night's sleep. I mostly got a full night's sleep. And then as soon as I woke up this morning, my smoke alarm started going off. And there's no smoke, there's no fire. It's this one, that one in particular that went off is not also a CO2 detector, so there was no carbon dioxide to be concerned about. But weird. And then when I went to go, my little alarm went off 10 minutes before my Facebook Live to remind me, and I have it set to snooze for 5 minutes, and I can snooze it up to 3 times. But it reminded me, so I went to my computer to go open Facebook and go get started, and sure enough, wouldn't you know, my computer restarted itself last night to do some updates, and it completely erased everything on my computer. Wouldn't you know? It erased my Outlook, it erased my Google Chrome, it erased every program that I was logged into and signed into, and the open tabs that I had in my browser that I was going to be completing today. It just deleted everything. But it's fresh and updated, so I'm gonna have to be happy about that. So this Facebook Live specifically is going to be talking about problem solving through things and setting yourself up to win, because I could very well be having a complete flip out, freak out moment right now, because everything that I've been working on, I have things saved in Google Drive and in Dropbox, but there's a lot of things that were like on the actual computer itself that may be no longer. And I only just had a few minutes this morning to take a peek, so maybe it's just hidden and they just changed all my programs. I don't know. The best part though is that I did not tell them to do the update. I opted out of it and they still did it. So technology, man. But specifically I want to speak to setting alarms. It's something, if you guys know me at all, you know that I talk about this. You know that I'm a big believer in this, and I really believe that they can make a difference in all sorts of arenas, and they're not just to be used to help wake you up in the morning, although they're also very functional for that. I use alarms for everything. If you guys have watched my Facebook Lives at all, you know I have an alarm at 6:15 to remind me to wrap it up. I have alarms reminding me to leave the house, because otherwise it's so easy to get sucked into projects and start working on things, and then you look at the clock and you're like, oh no, I should have already left like 15 minutes ago. And that's how people are late, is because there's not a lot of alarms happening, and or there's the, oh, I still have 2 minutes, I can do this thing, and they misjudge how long 2 minutes actually is and the thing that they're going to work on in that time frame, and they don't necessarily match. So I just want to set you up to win, and I'm going to tell you about my system for alarms. So it's twofold. The first part is I have calendar reminders in my actual calendar. So I have a ton of, I put people's birthdays in there. I put, like, if there's an upcoming event, I put that in there. Yes, I know people know how to use their calendars, but a lot of people don't use their calendars. I don't know. I'm a calendar girl. You can still choose to not do something even if it's on your calendar, but at least know that it's coming up and be reminding yourself of it. So, for instance, my church that I go to has an annual trip to Israel. And so they start talking about it well in advance, so people have plenty of time to book accommodations and all that. But the trip itself is happening now at the end of this month, which is cool. So they've been talking about it for a good year, maybe. Excuse me. And when they first talked about it, they gave the deadline of you need to make a deposit by this point. You need to sign up officially and complete everything by this date. So I also put that date in my calendar with a reminder for like 2 months ahead of time, so that I had time to kind of see what else had landed on my calendar in that time frame, if there was going to be anything else that was going to come up. But I had still 2 months to make the decision from the time my reminder went off. And I think something that people forget is to remind themselves ahead of time. So maybe all of a sudden you open up your calendar and now it's day of something and you're like, crap, I didn't even realize that was happening today because the reminder is set for like 15 minutes before the event. So one trick is to set your event specific reminders in advance. Or for instance, if you have people's birthdays or anniversaries in your calendar and you're going to want to celebrate them, set the reminder for like a week ahead of time so you have time to write a birthday card and get it in the mail, as opposed to having it be day of and then being like, oh crap, I was going to send them something, and then you go shopping and get something in the mail and it's late. Nothing wrong with extending birthday celebrations. Just if you wanted to be there on time, set the alarm early. So that's how I personally use my calendar system. Is I have reminders for all sorts of stuff. When I used to live in a little house where I had to take my garbage out to the street each week. Now I live in a little apartment and they just come pick it up in the alley. But I used to set reminders to remind myself to go do that and then to bring it in later that evening. So I just want you to remember that you can be using technology to your advantage. And I say that with the caveat that sometimes, as we learned earlier today, technology does not cooperate and it totally throws you for a loop. But for the most part, calendars are very effective and timers are very effective. So I set alarms for all sorts of stuff. And this, again, is setting myself up to win. So I set my alarms. For instance, if you like to sleep in the morning, but you don't want to like have to jump out of bed as soon as your alarm goes off, set it for, 15 or 20 minutes early so that you can hit snooze a couple times before you pop out of bed, if that's your style. If you, like when I set my reminders for my Facebook Live 10 minutes early, it's so that I know that when my alarm goes off, I still have 10 minutes to finish wrapping things up. I can, make sure that my eggs are cooking, or I can, I have time to make my bed, or in some cases when technology is working, I would do my makeup before this. But it gives me that like, okay, cool, I have 10 minutes to kind of wrap things up before I step into that. And then at my 5-minute alarm, I come on Facebook and get it all set up so that when the alarm actually goes off at 6 a.m., I can just hit start. So very simple, but it's those kinds of things that allow you to stay on track with goals, allow you to stay on track with deadlines. Obviously, things come up like this morning. Computers sometimes will fail you, and it sucks, but you have a backup. So I'm using my phone to record this, which is fun because then you get a different background. This is my that's my dining room, and then this is my living room. And that used to be the old background where my desk was, but now I've rearranged. So there's the little tour of my apartment that's behind me. So when you're setting alarms, just be proactively thinking like, am I going to need any heads up? When I set my alarms to leave the house, I always set them at least 5 minutes ahead so that I know, okay, the alarm's going off, I still have 5 minutes, versus the alarm's going off, crap, I still have to wrap this thing up, but it's time for me to go. Like, set yourself up to win. Get yourself out of chaos mode. And there's no shame in using alarms to remind yourself for stuff. There's no shame in putting people's birthdays in your calendar. There's no reason why you need to remember them off the top of your head. And I think people put way too much emphasis on, oh, you don't remember my birthday? How could you? What kind of a friend are you if you don't even remember my birthday? There are lots of other things that take space up in this brain, and I don't feel that it's necessary to have to remember all the dates when we have access to even a physical planner to write them in or a calendar to plug them into that can help us remember. So I'm just going to give you permission. You don't have to have everything locked up here. I know we used to. I know I grew up in the generation where we memorized people's phone numbers. There's nothing wrong with that. Heaven help me if I had to memorize every phone number that I have in my contacts that I like actually in communication with. I don't want to use my brain space for that. I want to use my brain space to be creative and to think new things and to come up with new ideas and new solutions. I don't want to use it to think, oh, whose birthday is coming up this week? Or what is that person's phone number again? I had it tucked away somewhere filed in my brain way back where. So permission is yours. Use technology. It's proactive problem solving is basically what it is. It's setting yourself up to win. So use your alarms, use your calendar, and it's not a bad thing to have a backup plan. For instance, if you know you do a weekly Facebook Live and one of your systems maybe isn't going to work, have the other one ready to go. Simple things. Don't overcomplicate it. And try out the alarm system. See what you think. You can use it for all sorts of things. Set reminders throughout your day to remember to drink water. That's a common one I like to have my clients do. And, if there's little things that you want to start doing on a daily basis, make sure you have time blocked in your calendar for it, and then set little alarms to remind you, like, oh, that's right, now it's my time to do, 10 push-ups. When I had my push-up goal, I was doing 10 push-ups in the morning and 10 in the evening. And I can say that out loud and be like, okay, 10 in the morning, 10 in the evening. But we all know so much stuff comes up in the morning and the evening and throughout the day that could distract us, that even though I know I said, okay, I want to do 10 push-ups in the morning, 10 in the evening, without alarms, a lot of times they would have gotten missed. But because I had alarms, I got to do them and I got stronger, and then I got to do my proper push-up, which was my goal. So anyway, that is that. I hope you guys have an incredible day, and I hope your computers cooperate and that they don't totally crash and have you lose everything. That's my hope for you today. So enjoy your day. Try the alarm system. Set it up. Let me know what you think. Post in the comments. Let me know if it worked for you or not. Or if you're like, I'm not totally sure how to structure that for me. Let's figure it out together. Okay? All right. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you here next week, every Thursday, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern, for another episode of Growth and Grace. See you then.